Of course, you know where we're located, in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. Now it's Saturday morning here, the 8th of June. It's not as cold as it has been this morning. It's 13 degrees Celsius, which is 55.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're doing a slightly different format this time. What we've decided to do is, Graham's on the other side of the camera there, we'll get onto him in a minute. We're going to do a little bit of technical work, just to mix things up a little bit. And by doing that, we hope that people can learn a few things. But basically, in June, what's been happening is we've been fairly busy so far this month, being under the 8th day, and we've got good morning, Susan.
Hey, Susan.
We've got rid of the knockout, the Gottlieb knockout. Now, we did a video on this just last week. Oh gee, that was a real nightmare. You know, the owner had put, well, there was 10 wires in the wrong spot, and of course when you've got a problem like that, it sounds simple enough, but you fix one problem and then it reveals another problem and it throws you off the track. And we mentioned in our video we got a friend of ours to come in and have a look for us and see if we were missing something in the circuit. It's your wife's account. Okay, Tony, no worries. And he was looking around as well, and we were quite pleased when he couldn't sort of jump on the stove.
Had him stumped.
Yeah, had him stumped for a while. But like I said, some people said, oh, that shouldn't be too hard, but oh yeah, you need to watch the video so we can explain what happened. I won't go through it all again, just watch the actual video and you'll get an idea of what we're on about. So it really boiled down to 4 wires in the wrong spot on the start relay, and one of those wires, which really threw us off, had been there for years because it wasn't a new solder connection. Someone had did this years ago, so we guess the machine was somewhere, someone's worked on it. We knew they'd undone the wiring loom, we did too, and there it was, the problems. So we got rid of that, and that was a great relief to have that going.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we done it.
Yeah, I'm glad we did it too, but I've got to admit it frustrated me to hell, and I was getting a bit sort of...
Well, we're getting over it very quick.
Yeah, very quickly. Okay, we've got a few people joining us now. Whoops, a daisy. Bruce from Calgary in Canada, looking forward to a show. Have a few...
Hey, Bruce.
Playing up. Yeah, that's great. Canada. Yeah, I wish I could get to Canada. I might try within the next 2 years. There's so much to see and do. Matter of fact, John Robertson from flippers.com mentioned in a comment the other day I'd be welcome to have a look at his facility, his shop. I forget where that was now, but I'd have to look that up again. I'd really like to go to Canada. I'd love to do the Rocky Mountaineer train trip and have a look at some of the tourist attractions over there, and probably some that are off the beaten track that some of you Canadians might want to recommend to me. Anyway, that's a little way off yet. We decided when we finished Knockout that we'd get back into Lightning Ball, the project we've been working on for quite some time. And as you've seen in the past, we've completed the head box on it, the cabinet, and we're just going to start doing all the work on the bits we've got out of it. Like I'll show you in a moment. We've got the play field. We ummed and ahed. We were going to get it sort of touched up and that, but when we had another good look at it, it was decided that there's a lot of work in there, so we're actually now investigating getting a playfield overlay made for it. And just 10 minutes before starting this broadcast, I communicated with the guy who we're going to get to do it, And I've sent him the photos, and he's already starting to look at that as we speak. So we're hoping to have that ready for our Pinfest here in the third week in September.
But in the meantime, we're just going to get everything ready to put it all back together, basically.
Sure.
That's how I do restorations. Get everything done and pretty well put the whole machine together in the 1 week. Because there's nothing worse than you got to stop and paint something. Yeah, so you want it all ready to go.
We do, yeah, that's very true. So through last month, we had a guy contact us about a Jungle Princess, and we were rather expecting that he was going to turn up with that. But he hasn't yet. Well, that's okay. We can take it or leave it. Yeah. We've got enough work to do.
We've always got plenty to do.
The other job that we really have to get onto, and those that have watched our journey on Facebook over the last few years probably may recall we had a Midway from 1969 Whirlybird. We bought that, and we've had a new cabinet made for it, but we just haven't gotten to it. We've got to get a helicopter made.
We've got to get the lightning ball out the way, I think.
Yeah, we just got to get that done. And earlier this week, I think it was Tuesday, I just got home from the goat shed, and I got a message from a chap up in Queensland who I met up there several years ago. They own an arcade, and they're up there and do a few repairs. There's a guy moving from the state below us, which is Victoria, and he's moving up to Queensland, and he has a Gottlieb Jack's Open from 1977. He needs some work done on it. So apparently things have stopped working. Him and his mates have had a fiddle with it. They can't get it going. Good morning, Thomas. Where are you from? Yeah, he's bought new drop targets and a few other, I think he said some other stuff. And
it's
he wants it all repaired.
Very interesting, that drop target bank.
Yeah, Graham mentioned that's one of those drop target banks where you end up, what is it, with a royal flush?
Royal flush, yeah.
Yeah, so you only have certain cards
and
come back up.
There's a lot of, it's very involved, the trip bank, the target bank. So
right,
we'll have a good look at that.
Okay. So, like I said, in a little while we're going to show you a bit of stuff like we do South Carolina. Now that's Joe's classic arcade country, is it not? Have you ever been to see Ronnie and Joe? Be worth the trip, I'm sure. I can't remember what town they're in there, but they're definitely in South Carolina. And that's another part of the world I want to get to in America. Virginia, North and South Carolina, and have a little look around the coast and everything there. It looks like it's a beautiful country. Last time I was in America, a friend of mine from Virginia had written a book about it. Oh goodness me, I can't think of his name at the moment. It's terrible, isn't it? It's a great book. It tells you a lot about Virginia. He gave me that book. There's so many places. So, talking about the USA, it's last time we did our live broadcast, approximately a month ago. It was 4 months and 18 days till I go to the States, and now it's only 3 months and 21 days. So yeah. Oh, you have met them. That's great. That's great. Good people. I try and stay in touch with them. As I said, I'd really like to go there and meet Ronnie and Joe and see what they do. They do some great work. So, you know, people, there's not only Graham and I do YouTube videos. We believe what we do is fairly specialised.
There's some good channels
and
out there.
Unique. But there are some good channels out there. You have, obviously, Joe's Classic Arcade. Really popular channel. They've got a lot of followers. They huge hits on their videos. You've got another guy there, Mark's Basement Arcade. That's Mark Voluch. He's there, located in Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Then there are a few other guys. I mentioned one the other day. He did pinball destruction tests. And he had some really good videos. So I don't know what's ever happened to him. He seems to have disappeared, but his videos are still there. And that's all we can hope, that the videos stay up for years to come so people can see them. And most of his have been there, I think it was 10 years. So that's a good sign, isn't it? So yeah, getting back to that Jack's Open, we'll have that come in and do the work on that. I think the guy's travelling up this way. He's leaving where he lives to go to Queensland, taking a bit of stuff up. He'll drop his pinball machine in. So that'll be good. And what else have we got happening, Graham?
Just general stuff around the shed, I think.
Here we've got someone from Quebec, Danny. Hi, Danny. Another Canadian. You Americans are being overrun at the moment, I think. We've got an Aussie and a Canadian, and probably people who haven't said anything.
Yeah.
Say hello to us, everybody. Type it in. Say hello. We like to hear where you're from and learn maybe a little bit about
Maybe a bit about your collection sometimes, yeah.
Stuff you do and things like that. It's not all about us. We do these live things for just a bit of fun.
Yeah. Some people specialise in wood rails, some in wedge heads. You know, what do some people do?
Yeah. So, Danny, you might have just heard me mention I wouldn't mind getting to Canada one day. So the USA trip is still, something I'm looking forward to. I leave Australia on the 29th of September. Hello from Benton in Pennsylvania. Okay, that's Ben Barchick. Hey, Ben. Hope to see you in York in early October at the White Rose Game Room Show. And don't forget, everybody, I'll be at the White Rose Game Room Show. I can't remember the dates. It's just the week preceding Expo. I think it might be the 11th and 12th or something like that. So are you going to go to York, Ben, or did you go to Allentown, or maybe you've got a preference, I don't know. Or people have said go to Allentown, but Allentown's just been on, and it sort of doesn't correspond with when we can get over to the USA. I mean, I guess we could come anytime, but my friend Craig that I travel with still works, and he's got to line up with his holidays and everything like that. There's our dog Abby in the background barking her head off. She's probably
getting rid of people.
I don't know, chasing something away. So, as I said, slightly different format this time. Before we switch over to Graham, I'll just remind you again where we'll be in America. We'll be California, San Diego. I'll start, then Long Beach, then New York City. We'll take a trip up to Poughkeepsie, up to see Steve Young at the Pinball Resource and visit our good friend in Highland, Dave Matrando. Then we'll spend a couple more days in New York City, rent a car, take our life into our own hands, drive on the wrong side of the goddamn road, and drive down to Pennsylvania to York. We hope maybe to stop off in New Jersey to see some people. We'd love to visit Vic Camp. We had planned that last time, but Vic now has a condo down in Florida, and he spends so much of the year in Florida in the warmer weather, I guess, and so much of the year in New Jersey in the cooler weather. We'd love to visit where we can, where people want us to come and have a look. But we'll be in York for the Thursday, Friday and Saturday night, and the Sunday we'll drive off and we'll head towards Ohio. We're going to try and visit Pastimes Arcade again. Now it's fully up and running. I guess in a way it was sort of sad news to hear that Mike Hale has tendered his resignation there, but that's understandable. He's where he lives in PA. It's an hour drive each way, so there's 2 hours out of his day. He's got a young family, so he's probably looking to spend more time with his kids and wife, and make his life a little bit easier. So, gee, we wish him all the best. He's done a lot for pinball, and he's not going to disappear, but he's just going to change his job. So that'll be something for him to move on in life, and onward and upward, as we say, and we wish him all the best. And from there we'll head up towards Michigan, and we visited the Ford factory last time, so we won't need to do that again. We may try and visit the Clay Harrell, unless he's heading off to Chicago. I'm not sure. I haven't contacted him. Then we'll be in Chicago for Expo for the 4 days, 4 nights. Then we're up and off to Wisconsin, up to a private collection there. Then we're going to spend a bit of time on Bob Milsner's farm, or I am, because my mate Craig, he's got to go back to Australia. He leaves America on the 21st of October. And don't forget, I'll be speaking at Expo if anyone wants to come along to that. You'll see when they release that, what time. I don't even know yet, so that'll be one evening, I guess. Say g'day, meet Spanky. Where are you, Spanky? Where is he? He must be here somewhere.
On the bumper.
Oh, there he is over there. Okay, you'll see him in a minute.
Spanky going to speak there?
Spanky will have a few words. He says, "Nyeh," or something like that.
Probably say, your shout. That's probably what he says.
Yeah, wanting people to buy him a drink. Yeah, and I'll stay on that farm for four nights, I think. I'm going to meet a few collectors up that way and have a bit of fun, have a few barbecues and so on. And then I'll be flying back via Seattle to San Diego. So the two places, notable places we're not going to this time, and sadly we just can't really get there, is Las Vegas and San Francisco. So we'll miss out on going to the Pinball Hall of Fame. Okay, we've been there, been to the old one, been to the new one. And in San Francisco, we'll miss out on going to the Pacific Pinball Museum and meet our good friend Michael Sheese and our other good friend Andrew Harris at his house. But that's the way it is. I met Dan Fonts last time. He lives over the other side of the San Rafael Bridge. I think it's a big long bridge you go over. But yeah, we probably won't be getting to San Francisco. Needless to say, that's okay. So what we've got now, we've got Graham there, and he's now working on a relay. These are some of the ones we use for our training courses. Now, we did have a training course scheduled for a fortnight's time, but due to lack of interest, it looks like we're going to have to cancel that.
It's too cold too. People don't like that.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We've done them in the winter before. But look, it is what it is. I put up that we're going to have a training course, and of course people over in the USA get all excited and think that we're over there, but when you hear our accents, you know we're not Americans, we're Australians. So it's only here in Australia, and we have had people travel some good distances to come here. Probably any of you people out there drink rum? Well, in Australia we have a big distillery in Queensland called Bundaberg Rum.
Yeah, very famous brand.
And we had a bloke come not from the Bundaberg Rum factory, but he lived up near there. He came to one of our courses. I think that was late last year. Anyhow, we've got the last post up about it, but yeah, it doesn't look like anyone can come. Everyone tells us they want to do the course, but we try and give 6 or 7 weeks notice, but still not good enough for some people. They have other things that they need to do. Well, that's fine. We have other things we need to do as well. We only run these courses for the betterment and the future of electromechanical pinball, and when people have got the time, I'm sure they'll partake. So, what do you got there, Graham? What's that one?
It's a locking relay for a Williams. Yeah.
Oh, a latching relay.
Latching relay, yeah. Yeah, just going to pull it apart and clean it. Nothing too flash. Yeah,
we're just tidying them up, and what we'll show you here is, where are we? Here we go. We did this one the other day. That's a Williams alternating relay there on the right, and they call that a Z or Z relay. They're the bigger ones, and the smaller one on the left, they call them an M for Mary relay. Now we've just got them there, so we can show how they operate.
And with the white background, you can see the switches.
Did a white background, you can see the switches open. One over here, it's an alternating relay, and the very bottom switch, I dare to say, is the hold-on part of the hold-on circuit. Notice this wire here. That wire there is to illustrate that that switch is a hold-on switch. That's wired in series directly to the switch to keep that switch held on till something releases it in the circuit, like a score motor switch. And the other curly wire up there just indicates Gottlieb do that as well, so that there'll be another wire soldered onto one of those lugs, and it serves both switches. So you quite often see that. You've got to look out for that sort of stuff. One great thing I like about Williams relays, let's get in. They're all very positive, you know.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And
now, you know what they say about relays, people? The first 50% is to touch, and the last 50% is to wipe the switch. Probably a bit hard to illustrate that there, but let's try and do that with, there, that's touching. See the bottom one? Look at that. Touch. I mean, that could probably be adjusted a bit closer together, but we're not going to argue about that at this stage.
We can adjust them at the course anyway, if we need to be.
Graham's got a couple of Gottlieb score reels there. Now remember, I think we showed these in our last live video, and this is the difference. There was a bit of debate recently, well, not debate, but questions and inquiries and so on about people that got their score reel switches, and there's a chart that's out there, right? Everyone's probably seen that chart. I can't remember how it started, but Andrew Harris has ended up with it somehow, and he's recently done a lot of editing on it, and they class them as Series 1 and Series 2, or version 1, version 2 score reels. Now, Gottlieb on 4-player games, very much like the one over my shoulder here, 4 Seasons from 1968, what they did, they had this configuration in the score reels where this one here I've got in my hand is an early version, because, can I just have that spring up for a sec?
Yeah.
You can see this, see the white lifter here? That's how you tell, that's a System 1 or Series 1. Oh, there's a better view of it there. Where the other one doesn't have it. Better later, the newer one. See, it doesn't have it. So, oddly enough, they only use those, and one guy was asking about his King of Diamonds, they only use that style of score reel on 4-player games, not 2-player, 4-player only. Don't know why. No idea. And they used it from probably around Dancing Lady, which was 66. And then, well, around what's a 4-player game from around 1970?
Crescendo?
Uh-huh.
I'm not real sure, but I'm pretty sure.
If anyone's got a Crescendo, it'd be worth having a look.
I'm pretty confident all 4 players from 66 to 74 had it.
Right, okay. Yeah. It makes sense, wouldn't it? Originally I thought there was a difference, but then we realised it was just 4-player games. So when I'm in the USA, I'll be sitting down having a lot of one-on-one with John Osborne, the former Gottlieb designer. John's still active. He's in most of the electromechanical groups. He's in EM Pinball. He's in our group. He's in the Woodrail group. I think he's in the Bingo group. He lives in California these days, and he may know. He started at Gottlieb in 72. He was there when they were producing King Cool, you know, that horrible game with the 4 flippers.
But people love it, like.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's just personal preference.
Choice, yeah. And he was there till 84, like when that Milestone mob took over, and they saw the beginning of the end, and as people started getting shown their marching orders. So he had a lot of experience as an engineer designer at Gottlieb, and he's a very valuable man to still have around, so we can learn things.
And a nice bloke too.
And lot of you may or may not be aware, but a good friend of mine, Will White, Will these days lives in Alabama, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, way down south. He was quite friendly with Wayne Nyans, this Will White, and when Wayne lived in Arkansas, in Mountain Home, John Osborne travelled there and Will White travelled there, and they made some videos. Now Will has and I recommend anyone look at these interviews with Wayne. There's one on Wayne on his own, and there's a 3-part one with Wayne and John Osborne. And Will's Facebook page it's got a funny name. He's not under Will White. Oh, I just can't remember it. I'll look it up and I'll tell you, okay? Because it's worth remembering. So Graham's pulling that score reel apart. You want to give him a blow-by-blow there, Graham?
Well, just at the moment, I'm just taking all the wires off because they annoy me. They're always in the way and stuff. So basically going to strip it all down to nothing, bag it up, and when we're off here, I'm going to start buffing things up and starting to rebuild it. And they work perfectly as they do now, but we just want everything clean and nice, and we don't want handing rusty crap people to people who try to explain how they work, and you can hardly see the switches because of the dust and grease on them. So we've got to clean everything up, which it doesn't matter because every machine we get in, we do it anyway. So we're pretty good at doing it. But we do this sort of stuff in our downtime when we've got a minute, and so just makes it easier later on. And in reality, it doesn't take long. Yeah. Dog's got a temper.
Okay. I found that name of that YouTube page. It's called Rizzle Razzle Uno.
I've heard of that before.
So that's RIZZLERAZZLEUNO. Rizzle Razzle Uno. And if you can look, I'll try and write that down for you in case you missed that. I'll just say that again. Rizzle, RIZZLERAZZLEUNO. Got it? How'd I do with me? We don't say ooh, we say you. But if we say Uber, we say Uber. How's that work out? So you also see some stuff there. John Osborne has an interest in old pianola, Nickelodeon things and stuff like that, old mechanical music machines, and you'll see all about that. There's also a video on the Larry Zatarian, or Zatarian, I'm surely Larry, I'm not sure, on 3 Keene games that Ed Krinsky designed. Now Ed Krinsky was around a while before he went to Gottlieb, so he actually worked for Keene. And these are really interesting. So it's a really good site to have a look at. It's not well known, I don't think. And yeah, people will be probably pleasantly surprised at what they may find. Let me know what you think. Now, Graham's doing all that sort of stuff. One thing that I was taught when I was trying to learn schematics, and hey, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert at reading schematics. I sometimes get horribly confused. But our friend Tony, who's been doing schematic diagrams for years and years on electronics and all sorts of stuff, said to me, look, one of the best ways to do this is to write the circuit out on a piece of paper without all the other stuff in the road. Now, it makes sense, and I'll sort of show you in a moment what he's talking about, because he's right, it does make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Now, you can do it a simple circuit, but you know, on a schematic, things go from you've got to follow a wire all the way up to the top, and next minute it crosses over something else, and it can tend to get somewhat confusing. But just for our training and things like that, we've been teaching people that. And I even noticed on a video that was done the other day, who did that? Oh, David Valansky and Mark Gibson did it at the, what was the last pinball show there in California? Lodi, that's where it is, but I can't think of the name of the show. You just sort of do something like this. So here's a problem we had with no match lights and game over lights on the game behind me there, Four Seasons. And this is just a simple example. You can see on the left there, there's it says XB. Well, XB is the last ball relay, and there's a make-break switch on that. So when the last ball's on, that switch changes from the top to the bottom and has to give a path to the orange and green wire via the 0 to 9 unit, and there's the arrows there on the 0 to 9 unit, and the GO lights, which is the game over lights. Well, simply what the problem with that was, that switch on that XB relay, when it was closed and making pressure, but we did that in the video on Four Seasons, it had spinning contact pads on it, and we had to pull the motorboard back out of the game and to be able to get it easy, because it was a very last relay, wasn't up near the transformer. But you just draw it out, and like here's a few other examples just to make it a little bit easier. Where's another one? I don't know, people may not agree with this, but I think it's a really, really good idea. Here was a match circuit player 2. Oh, here you go. So anyone watched our video on Four Seasons? That we only put it up day before yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
So there are the things that make the match circuit on player 2. We've got the O, which is the ball return relay, the XB, the last ball relay switch, motor switch 1B, PB2, which is player 2 on the trip bank, and then they go through an orange and black wire, which you can see here, orange and black. That one there goes through the one side of the 0 to 9 unit, and there's the arrows there, they move along. So we weren't getting a match. And what the problem was that this switch with the orange and black and brown, white, red wire on PB2 was making and had good pressure, but it was quite oxidised. So, and the spring on the armature was a bit damaged, so we changed that spring and we cleaned that switch, and we cleaned 1B previously. We knew XB here was okay. Well, we really knew that the O and the XB were all right because they're in the circuit for the other players 3 and 4. So it either had to be switch 1B or PB2. You isolate that down. So 1B was making and clean, and PB2 it was making and clean, but it was not. It was oxidised, so we had to really.
Yeah, so the switch can look good, but it's not.
Give it a clean with the Dremel, and that's a lesson learned, because Graham said, well, this switch looks pretty good, but yeah, it wasn't. I think I've got another example here. You know, this was one we used in it. Here's one. Here's a good one. This is one we did on Knockout. We needed to know we needed to follow some wires on the J relay, so we had to write each one down. See that? So there's one there, motor 4C, and where it went to and ended up at a fuse. And see that one there, white, blue, brown? There's 2 of them on the start relay, and one was somewhere else. And I think that was the one I mentioned earlier that had been soldered somewhere and took a long time to find. So, you know, you do that, and it can just make your life a little easier rather than going all over the shop, up and down and around and about, and you can do it in a sort of straight line or something of a semblance that makes sense to you. So, we got anyone else wants to say hello? No, yes, no, there's Spanky. Can everyone see Spanky? Point to him, Graham.
There he is.
There he is.
He's on the bumper of death.
Yeah. Now, we'll show you those things in a minute. They're things we made up for our training courses, how a pop bumper works. And those yellow bits of timber, they're actually off a Jungle Queen playfield, which had watered down. It was beyond help.
Yeah.
And one of our friends here bought that machine very cheaply for the transformer. He wanted an Australian transformer for one of his games, and he got a chime unit out of it and a lockdown bar, and just those 3 parts are worth a small fortune these days.
They pretty well paid for his purchase.
Yeah, well, they more than paid for it. So he gave us the machine, and we were able to get all the parts out of it. So, like I said, it was just the wood, right?
It was beyond help.
Yeah, it had gone white ants.
You would have to spend a lot more money than what it's worth, and it wouldn't be the same game.
Yes. So, here we go. We've got. Sorry, the screen didn't scroll up. So here we go. We got. I'll go the Maroons. That's a Queensland team. It's cold here most of the time in Quebec. Yeah, I bet you it is.
Really?
And we have. Ben's been going to York for the last 10 years. It's definitely worth going. Here's Tommy from Florida. Hello, Tommy. I think you mean FL is Florida. I'm learning. I'm pretty sure that's it. And we've got Kevin and Elvis. Elvis has left the building from VA in the USA. So that's Virginia. And Reset Syndrome says, yo. So I'm not sure where you're from, Reset Syndrome, and I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you earlier. I've got to get used to scrolling these things up. Oh, and Paul Preston. Hello, Paul. Paul's one of our English friends from the UK.
Top contributor.
One of our top contributors on our Facebook page. And I'll give a quick shout out there to David Haslam. Now, he's from Oklahoma in the US, and David repairing back glasses. Now, he's on our Facebook group. If you need any back glass repairs done, contact David there in Oklahoma. And he repaired our lightning ball one for us, which we're very, very pleased with.
Yeah, no, very nice.
So, that's all happening, isn't it? I guess Graham's just gone to do something on a bench there.
Oh, one screw was really bad. Had to put
okay.
it in the vise.
So this, where we're working at now with this grey blanket on, this is our main goat shed bench.
It's where we put all the motorboards.
Where all the motorboards we put on, and we put the light box inserts out on there.
Because it's close to the heater.
Yeah, we've got the air conditioner just over the side there. We've got that turned off at the moment. It makes a lot of noise. This is the bell out of lightning ball. So that'll polish up well. We're going to polish that up. And just yesterday we finished polishing up the, there's the knocker. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. And what have we got here? Oh, well, that's the coil for the bell, the bracket for that big bell.
For this one.
So that's all been cleaned up and put new coil sleeves in. We've measured out the coils to make sure they're okay. And what else do we do there? Well, that's about it. But
well, I've got to buff that bell up.
Yeah, well, that bell's got buffed up. Yeah. We're not going to do that right now because it's just a waste of time.
That's why I'm bagging these together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't normally do that. I just normally do one at a time. But I'm going to put these in the bag so I don't get everything mixed up. And that way, when I just go over the buffer and take all the parts out and do them individually.
Oh, okay.
And then knock them back together when I've got a minute.
Yeah, fair enough. So what he's doing there with that score reel, he's taking the switch stack off. So that's the end of stroke switch, and just got the little black spanner there. That's a, what size is that one? That's a, I can't remember that little size. That's a 3/16. So 3/16, then you got 1/4 inch, then you got what do you got? 5/16, then you got 11/32. Yeah, 11/32, and they're colour coded too, people. So 11/32 screen, 5/16, and then you've got the 3/8, which is blue. Anyway, I'm sure you people are familiar with that. I've mentioned this before. Every time I go to the USA, I buy a set of tube spanners. We've got one hanging on the wall, the long magnetic ones. That's these ones. I bought these off Amazon. Oh, gee, when did I get them? A couple of years ago now. They're really handy to have. They're Klein, and I'm sure you American people are familiar with Klein tools. Quite a quality tool with the magnetic end. And I've then got a little set of Husky. I believe Husky. I bought those the first time I went to the USA. I believe they're a Home Depot brand. I could be wrong about that. And I've got another set out the back, which I bought for the other bench. So, and I probably need to get some for home, because I just went to get one the other day and I realised I didn't have that size. The only size I didn't have, for God's sake. Not that I use them at home very much, but sometimes you need to, yeah. So, Reset Syndrome, you didn't tell us where you're from, if you're still there, that is. And Kevin and Elvis, whereabouts in VA are you from? I'm interested to know. Bear in mind we're in Australia. We're located in the suburb of Glendale. Now there's a Glendale in California, I believe. Same as there's a Newcastle in, I think it was Ohio, and a few over that way. And of course we in Australia were, Captain Cook from England discovered us, and so a lot of our places are named after English or UK places. There's a Newcastle upon Tyne up in Geordie country there in the UK, and a lot of suburbs around here, like we've got Islington, there's an Islington, there's a Hamilton, there's all sorts of names. They're all English based. A lot of us have English heritage.
About Spanky, what do you got? What's his heritage?
Transsexual.
Oh, I thought so.
Yeah. Oh, that's not a heritage. Oh, he said it is.
I thought he come from Scotland.
He might have. He doesn't have a kilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to have a little bit of banter here while we're going along, people. And once again, we're happy to ask any questions that you may have, for sure. And just bear in mind that when we do our YouTube clips, we invite comments. But if you have repair technical questions, we prefer them to be asked in our Goat Shed Facebook group. And the reason, and the main reason for that is that we want everyone else to learn. We don't just want the person asking the question to learn, because it may be pertinent to some problem another person's got. Now, this came up the other day on our Facebook group, and it was from a guy who's one of our esteemed group experts, and he certainly is a knowledgeable man, and that was Warren McCulloch from Canada. Was asking about, he had a machine, it might have been a Fire Queen, and it had a 75 ohm resistor in series with the lamp on there, and of course it didn't tell you what lamp to put in there. Now, on some of the older schematics it does tell you that you needed to put a number 44 lamp in there, because they work at 6.7 volts or something or other, and a 47 works at a lesser voltage, and the resistor is there to make the current or reduce it down to 6 volts or as close to that as possible, because they've used these resistors in the 25 volt circuit to save wiring or running extra switch or something somewhere, just to save money. That's the way they did it. I guess they figured a 10-cent resistor or whatever they were in those days was cheaper than other parts, like, or building even another relay.
Yeah, if you're building 3,000 machines at the one model.
Yeah, it can all add up, because remember, it was all about cost, all about the money that they could make, or that the operator could make in the arcade.
Yeah, and if they can get rid of one relay, that's a lot of saving.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Now,
you want this one is absolutely disgusting.
right.
I'm glad we took this one apart. It's look at that.
Right. Okay, so Graham's showing you the coil plunger there. It's really grungy and dirty, and
the bracket that holds the coil in is pretty bad as well.
So we're going to clean all that up and buff it.
And actually, it was working all right, but not great. But it's going to work a lot better now.
Yeah, the frame. So we'll get that all cleaned up.
So look at that. It's terrible.
Oh yeah.
It's like if this was in a machine that we got into repair, we'd be stripping this down and cleaning it anyway.
Yes, sure thing.
So it's not out of the ordinary that we're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that? Have you got one of those ones there, the style where the common wire goes through, you know, and they break? Is that, you know what I'm talking about? That little 1/4 inch of common wire, you know, that goes. Nah, that's not one.
No.
And that's not one either. No, it doesn't. You know what I mean? The later ones.
Yeah.
That little common.
Look at the oxidization there.
Oh yeah, that's look at that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's been burnt into it. Yeah.
These arc.
That's arced right into it.
Yeah, it's like the. Let's have a look.
Like if this come in for a repair, we'd replace that.
Yeah, we would. We'll see how it cleans up, but we'll see what we're talking about. That arc in there and that greenish stuff. Yeah. The remember the wiper fingers run over there and they arc. And they end up burning holes in them.
Yeah.
We had an FS relay in here a while back, which was really badly burnt. As a matter of fact, I think I've got that here. Yeah. As fate would happen.
Same sort of thing.
Have a look at this, people. Have a go at this. See that? Let's get it in focus. Look at that one. That's badly burnt. There was smoke actually coming out of that. I think that was in Spinacard.
Yeah,
it was.
It was actually very, very strange to look at.
Yeah.
Because I was advancing the stepper, and all of a sudden
the smoke had come out.
A little puff of smoke had come out.
It's between the 6. Oh, hang on, let me see.
What didn't it do in 2 spots, Kim?
Yeah, it did. It's between the 5 and 4, and it's between the 3 and 2. Yeah.
And we just replaced the board.
Focus. Touch it here. Can we? I think you get. There you go. There's a pretty good shot of it. Look at that. So we replaced that, and people, there's a left and a right, and you can buy those. We've got a whole truckload of them, but if you haven't, you can order those off PBR, but you won't get these bits. You've got to order them. You can either solder it straight on, or you can order them separately. That's the only trick with that. They must have decided to do it that way. So, yeah, smoke. It was on fire.
It's quite funny, actually.
I keep what I call the Chamber of Horrors, and I think we've shown you in the past some of those parts, but they're bits that we've taken out of people's pinball machines that are really, really badly worn. And, you know, and it's not unusual to expect, because if you get a machine that's been neglected, not lubricated properly and things like that, you are going to get some really weird wear in them.
Yeah.
I'll try and find something else. You can just watch Graham there for a minute and he can tell you what he's doing.
Yeah, it's not too exciting. Just basically pulling it all down. Got to take the rack off. all that's going to get buffed. I like to take this bit of plastic off this insulation, because if you don't and it gets on the buffer, that'll go flying, so you've got to take that off. And if you do lose it, just use some heat shrink. That's what we use. We've just got to take off the switch stack now. It doesn't take long to do. But when you're doing a whole back box of 4 play machine, you do get over it very quick. But if it's got to be done, it's got to be done. That's why we do it on the bench, because it's so much more convenient. We can listen to the radio and just waffle on stuff to each other, and then we can nut out problems with the game while we're sitting here talking.
We see more 4-player games than wedge heads or two-player games. But here's another great example of a problem we had. Here's a can you see the big hole in the separator there? Right, that had a loose and spinning contact pad on the switch, and of course the arcing has burnt away at that.
That whole switch has gotten hot. It's glowed. Just
melted the plastic. Originally, you know, often you think a soldering iron might have touched it, but that's what happened there. So we had to change the switchblade, and we had to change the armature plate. So that was another one. Out of our chamber of horrors. And like I said, we like to show these at our courses so people know what to look for. Here was a really bad, this is a drive arm out of a Gottlieb and drive pull. This is all one part. Just get this in here. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, you've got a lot of wear and tear in it. There you go. Look at that. That's supposed to be rigid and fixed. Up and down, sideways.
The wear there too.
Yeah, just
there.
All underneath.
That's nearly through the hole.
Graham just saying, yeah, I think we noticed that before too. The wear underneath, see near the holes there. This is what we're talking about here. It's just been flogged. I mean, we had to change that. Now, I think the reality of that is that the pull has had it, you know, like we should probably drill that out. And what I'd like to see is if we could just buy them new in the rivet. You've probably got the rivet, but they don't have them. Another problem we had was, or not a problem, another interesting one we had was this big gap here in this one. So, you know, that gap's not supposed to be there, people. That's where it dived into the escapement wheel too.
Yeah, that's really bad, that one.
That's super bad. I've never seen one as bad as that. Now you can buy those parts. You can buy those. That's called a reset arm. There's 3 styles of reset arm. Some have got the extra bit that sticks up for the for it to hook onto the reset solenoid. But yeah, that's had it too. So there's some of the things you get. So Graham's just getting a little bit of emery cloth, light cloth. He's put a bit of WD-40 on that, have you? And
not yet.
Not yet?
Someone's pinched it.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Here it is here.
I think Spampy's been snorting it.
So people have seen in our videos a can of WD-40 on the bench and they've been horrified. But look, it still is a useful lubricant. And here he's going to rub that in. And it gives you a bit of a sliding surface and helps reduce the friction and helps clean things up better. We use it to loosen the frozen shoulder screws on the step units. Yeah. Any frozen screws or nuts, you can use WD-40. Of course, when those parts eventually come out, you wipe any excess away and they get cleaned anyway, so there's no trace of it left. You do not use any sort of lubricant in coils, sleeves and plungers, flippers. It's just not on.
Yeah, it is buggered. Like,
oh, look, okay.
You wouldn't be getting no contact there.
Yeah.
So we'd replace that, no worries.
Yeah. Now, there's ways to repair that. Once again, you could drop a bit of silver solder in there. You could use that. You can buy special tape. If you're an electronics dude, you'd probably know about that tape. I can't think what they call it. There are ways to repair it, but if we were repairing that person's machine, we'd replace that because we've got plenty of parts, as you've seen before.
Yeah. And it wouldn't give grief again for another 40 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this one's... Yeah, if anyone wants to know why that plastic bud's there, that's so that in the stroke switcher doesn't short out on the frame. Well, you'll notice some of the older ones haven't got it.
Yeah.
And which doesn't really matter because it doesn't have enough stroke to hit that frame. So if that's missing, you've got to replace that.
And that little bud, a lot of people will have heard, if you've worked on earlier Gottlieb games from the 60s and so on, about the SB or sequence bank armature switch. Now that's a switch which is triggered by the blade resting on the start relay, which is often in those sequence banks, and that has an insulator on the armature. If that insulator falls off, those SB armature switches have 110 volts going through them. If you touch the frame on them and you get a boot, it's reasonably likely that insulation has fallen out of that armature switch because there's 110 volts across that switch. And also, people remember that whenever you see plastic on those earlier games, it's off plastic wire, that is.
Yeah,
covering, sheathing, or whatever they call it. It's often to do with 110 volt circuits. And a lot of coin relays have that on both Gottlieb and Williams games and Bally, because in those days, the way they started the games was using the coin switches and things like that. So just watch out for plastic wires slightly thicker than normal, and you can be really rest assured, or make an assumption, I should say, that they could well be 110 volts. So be very, very careful. And the same on Jones plugs. You can get those on Jones plugs as well. Okay, so has anyone said anything to us lately? How do I get this back up again? No one said anything more. What are you doing there now, Graham?
Oh, just a normal relay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's working pretty good, but it's a bit grotty. We might have soaked this one.
Right.
It's got a lot of rust on it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see all the frames, but well, that's acceptable if you're going to use it. But look, the armature's really bad.
Oh, okay.
Might have replaced that.
So he's referring to this here. Yeah. Or we'll soak it in a bit of vinegar and clean it up.
We've got vinegar there. We'll soak that.
We've got plenty of them, but
yeah,
you can if you haven't got access to them.
Yeah, these things come back to life really easy.
So often people ask us what we clean things with. We use, as a degreaser, kerosene. We use isopropyl as a solvent cleaner.
And as a mixer.
Yeah, Spanky uses his vodka. And we have a ultrasonic cleaner, which we just fill with water and detergent, and if we want to clean anything or degrease it, it's getting cleaned, we have a glass bottle, a jam jar, and we put kerosene in that and put it in there, and away it goes and tends to clean it up. It doesn't mean to say you might need a toothbrush to get into some difficult areas, loosen the dirt. It's been there a long time. A lot of people, this week even on our Facebook group, people were talking about tumbling. One guy said, I do it over 48 hours and it comes up nice, but yeah, it does probably, but it's a long time to wait if you're in a hurry. We find just using the soft buffing wheel does the same thing. So it's much quicker, and I guess we were gifted a tumbler. When we got it, it had little ball bearing things with some coating on them, but they tended to go to rust pretty quick. And then we put some other stuff we got on, but we honestly haven't tried walnut shells, which we probably should. But we honestly just find that polishing on the buffing wheel is just as effective and a whole lot quicker. So anyway, that's just how you do it the way you want to do it, and we'll do it the way we want to do it. But that's what we do. People ask, so there you go. We're telling you. Well, it's starting to look to be a really nice Saturday. There's not as much wind. We had a bit of wind blowing from the west yesterday, and I went for a walk around the park, and it was freezing on the chest. I had to go to the pub and have a drink to warm up.
Well, it's such a good day. I'll probably put those legs out for the lightning ball that I've just painted yesterday.
Okay.
Get a bit of heat and then probably clear coat them.
Right.
While it's good weather, because it might be raining the rest of the next week.
So we just got some. We're going to take to the chrome plater on early this week, Monday or Tuesday, some chrome stuff that we need to get done for lightning ball, and make it look a little nice, like the surround that goes around the door. Remember, they've got a wooden door on them. Or is it metal?
Metal.
Metal. It was wooden on knockout, wasn't it? Or there it is.
It's a wooden door on knockout.
Yeah.
That's the actual door.
Okay, just hold it down a bit lower. There it is. Yeah.
Now it's pretty bad, but fortunately it's only got a bit of a ding in the middle. You can get away with it. These are really hard to repair because you've got to push down through these holes unless you want to take that off, which is is a real pain.
Yeah, sure.
But this is going to be painted antique white with a chrome surround.
Is that what colour the legs are?
Yeah, same colour as the legs.
You've painted the legs, haven't you?
Yes.
Well, go get one and we'll show them. We'll just show you this week.
We'll show you the colour. It's a nice colour.
So he's going to paint the legs and the door the same colour. Now, Graham, when I first joined him 10 years ago, he just finished a fashion show. You know, a 4-player game from '62, and it looked really, really nice. He had that for a while and he eventually sold it, and we've never ever heard from the buyer again.
No.
So here now we've got the antique white leg. There it is. He's going to clear coat those today.
Yep.
So what do you think of that? That looks pretty good, doesn't it, people?
And the door's going to be the same colour.
Door will be the same colour. All right, that's nice. Okay. Well, we like to just keep these things going for an hour. What did you think of our format this time? Did you prefer it, or would you like us to go back to the other one? Please let us know, because we don't know what you want. As I said earlier, we try and guess what you want, and hopefully we do a good job at that.
We'll put these near the buffer so I won't forget.
So he knows to do them. Okay, well, I think at this point we may end this presentation. Spanky said it's
nearly time for the pub to open.
Nearly time for the pub. Actually, it's almost 10:05.
Oh, it's open.
Pubs open at 10 o'clock here in Australia, or they sometimes not till 11. And we have our morning coffee at 10:30. So give us a look here. Here she is. Say hello to our viewers.
She stole my sausage roll this morning.
That's Abby. Yeah, she picked up a sausage roll and grabbed it. Okay.
Yeah, you're in trouble. She knows she's in trouble.
Yeah. Okay then. All right, people. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for joining us. Ask away with any questions. And we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Yeah. That's that black coming out in you.